America is in the middle of a housing affordability crisis, and it's not just hitting coastal giants like San Francisco and New York. Even cities that were once considered affordable are becoming harder and harder to live in, especially for middle-income earners. While housing markets naturally fluctuate, some areas are trending in a dangerous direction. We're seeing home prices outpace wages, rent increases that far exceed inflation, and not enough housing being built to meet demand. Welcome back to The Globe with Griffin. Today, we're counting down the top 10 U.S. cities that will be unaffordable by 2030. Whether you're planning a move, thinking about investing, or just keeping tabs on the future of urban living, this list will help you understand which cities are becoming financial pressure cookers, and why. Starting off at number 10, we have Boise, Idaho. Boise was once the hidden gem of the Mountain West, affordable, scenic, and family-friendly. But over the past decade, things have changed dramatically. As housing costs in states like California and Washington spiraled out of control, a growing wave of residents sought refuge in cities like Boise. The city's population exploded, fueled by remote workers and retirees looking for more bang for their buck. But that sudden growth has come at a steep price. The housing market here wasn't prepared for the surge in demand. Inventory remains low. Construction has been slow, and prices have skyrocketed. Between 2011 and 2021, Boise saw some of the fastest home price appreciation in the entire country. Local wages, however, haven't kept up, creating a massive affordability gap. Renters are being squeezed, first-time homebuyers are shut out, and many locals are being priced out of the market they once called home. At number 9, we head to Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville used to be known as Music City, but these days, it's just as much about tech, healthcare, and venture capital. The city has become a magnet for startups, remote workers, and young professionals. It's cool, it's creative, and it has major economic momentum. But all that growth has consequences. In neighborhoods like the Nations, Germantown, and East Nashville, prices have more than doubled over the last 8-10 years. New construction has tried to keep up, but developers often focus on luxury units, not affordable ones. Public infrastructure like transit and roads has lagged behind the population boom, adding another layer of strain. Combine that with rising rents and stagnant median wages, and you've got a recipe for long-term affordability issues. By 2030, Nashville might still be booming, but not everyone will be able to afford to stick around. Coming in at number 8 is Orlando, Florida. Orlando is best known as the home of Disney World and Universal Studios. But beyond the theme parks, this city is growing fast, and not always in ways that benefit its residents. In recent years, Orlando has become a magnet for retirees, remote workers, and investors. Many of its homes are now tied up in short-term rentals, taking much-needed units off the long-term market. At the same time, rental rates in Orlando have been climbing at one of the fastest rates in the country. Housing development has lagged behind population growth, and wages for service and tourism workers remain low. Many renters now spend over 40% of their income just to keep a roof over their heads. If nothing changes, Orlando could become a city where only the wealthy or tourists can afford to live. At number 7 is Seattle, Washington. Seattle is booming, but not everyone is benefiting. With companies like Amazon, Microsoft, and other tech giants dominating the local economy, high-paying jobs are plentiful. But so is demand for housing. And with restrictive zoning laws and a geographical layout that limits expansion, Seattle has struggled to build enough new homes. The result? Home prices that feel out of reach for most, and rents that continue to push people further into the suburbs, or even out of the metro entirely. Middle-class workers are feeling the squeeze. Even those with solid incomes find it hard to live within city limits. If Seattle doesn't find a way to dramatically expand affordable housing, the city could become a walled garden for only the highest earners by 2030. Number 6 is Denver, Colorado. Denver was once considered the perfect compromise. Access to nature, a decent job market, and relatively affordable homes compared to California. But in the last 10 years, Denver's identity has changed. An influx of new residents, combined with a red-hot housing market, has driven prices higher than anyone expected. Gentrification is rapidly transforming many older neighborhoods. Areas like Five Points and Capitol Hill have seen massive redevelopment. But again, much of that housing is geared toward higher income earners. Meanwhile, rent continues to rise, pushing longtime residents out. Even some nearby mountain towns are starting to feel the squeeze as remote workers spread out across the region. If supply doesn't catch up soon, Denver could become unaffordable to most locals within the next 5 years. At number 5, we head to Raleigh, North Carolina. Raleigh is a rising star in the Southeast, home to major research institutions, biotech companies, and a rapidly growing tech sector. It's a city on the rise. But that rise comes with growing pains. Over the past decade, Raleigh has seen a flood of new residents, many from higher-cost states, who are bidding up the housing market. Local builders are working to catch up, but zoning and infrastructure limitations slow the process. Meanwhile, wages haven't kept pace with the rising cost of living. Rent prices have increased sharply, especially in areas popular with young professionals and students. Raleigh's popularity could eventually price out the very workers that built its reputation. Landing at number 4 is Miami, Florida. Miami's story is one of contrasts. It's glamorous, international, and increasingly known as the Wall Street of the South. Hedge funds and tech companies are moving in, driving up both housing demand and prices. But the working-class backbone of Miami, those in hospitality, transportation, and retail, are struggling to keep up. Formerly affordable neighborhoods like Little Havana and Allapattah have seen intense gentrification. Meanwhile, foreign investment and a massive surge in luxury developments have squeezed out lower-income housing. By 2030, Miami could be a tale of two cities, one for the wealthy elite and one for everyone else struggling to stay afloat. Number 3 takes us to San Diego, California. San Diego has always been pricey, but what's happening now is unprecedented. Home prices in San Diego have risen faster than almost anywhere else in the state. With oceanfront views and perfect weather, demand has never been higher, but land for new construction is scarce. Strict environmental regulations and zoning restrictions limit where and how builders can add new supply. As a result, both renters and buyers are stuck fighting over a small pool of properties. It's now common for renters to pay well over 50% of their income just to live near the city center. If nothing changes, San Diego could become even less affordable than Los Angeles. Coming in at number 2 is Austin, Texas. Austin was once a hip, affordable college town. Today, it's a full-fledged tech hub. Tesla, Oracle, and other major companies have brought high-paying jobs and thousands of new residents. But the housing market hasn't kept up. From 2010 to 2023, median home prices in Austin more than doubled. Even outlying areas like Round Rock and Leander are seeing record-high prices. Locals who've lived in Austin for decades are being pushed out by skyrocketing rents and property taxes. If the trend continues, and there's little indication that it won't, Austin could lose the very cultural and economic diversity that made it special in the first place. And finally, number 1, San Francisco, California. San Francisco is already one of the least affordable cities in the country, and by 2030, it may only get worse. The city's tech-driven wealth boom created intense demand, but local regulations and opposition to dense housing construction created a major supply bottleneck. Even a modest one-bedroom apartment can rent for over $3,000 a month. Home prices average well over $1 million, and property taxes and maintenance costs only make things worse. The city's middle class is shrinking, and the population is hollowing out in favor of either the ultra-wealthy or long-time homeowners who bought in decades ago. Without sweeping reform, San Francisco is on track to remain a poster child for extreme housing inequality. So what's the takeaway here? Housing affordability is one of the most urgent issues facing cities today. These 10 cities are just the tip of the iceberg, but they're also a warning. Without bold changes in policy, planning, and development, many more cities could become unaffordable to average Americans. If you live in one of these places, or are thinking about moving there, now is the time to stay informed. Monitor price trends, wage growth, and housing supply. And think long-term. Where will you be able to build a life you can actually afford? Let us know in the comments. Do you live in one of these cities, or are you considering a move? What's your experience with affordability where you are? And don't forget to subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss future episodes. We're here every week with deep dives into housing, real estate, and what's really shaping America's cities. Thanks for watching The Globe with Griffin. Stay smart, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next one.